The writing style of Pierce Brown is one that I read easily. I thought that a certain character was going to be fine, and then they weren't. And they were just like cleaved in two.
I didn't think that he would kill that person. Pierce, why are you killing everybody? I won't tell you who died, but
After having read the prologue of Dark Age, the writing style of Pierce Brown is one that I read easily. So even if the text is small and the page count is long, I still think I can do it. Also, like I said, I'm just not feeling the mood read that I picked up, which is really weird. I don't know what's going on with that, but you know what? I'm gonna try. So I'm going to read this in any spare moment I have. I'm going to class today, but then I really want to go to a coffee shop, or I want to go to a Barnes & Noble and sit at the Starbucks in the cafe. Yeah, I just want to sit and read this. I want to sit. Although I did put a story out on my Instagram, and it was like, when you've done nothing but sit on your butt and read all summer, and then you go back to class and you almost faint. And then the next story was me saying that I legitimately had to sit down because I started to see stars, my hearing in my left ear just went, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go down if I don't lay on the floor right now. And everyone looked over me and they were like, is she dying? Do we need to call the paramedics again? And I was like, no, please don't call the paramedics. I can't afford it. I'm just out of shape. And that's what happened. So, long story short, I wanna read and become more out of shape. So I'm gonna try to keep this as spoiler free as possible, but I just have to say, like, the nuggets of gold, but in Pierce Brown's writing, it's just like, I just wanna live in these words. There is a gem in here, just in the prologue, that says, I miss the promise of life, the smell of rain, the murmur of waves on a shore, the sound of a full house. It is a life I've rented but never owned. That's just like, oh. It hits you. It hits you. It's like when you think that, or like when you feel yourself missing the good times while you're still in the good times, and then you look back on those times when you're in the bad, and you're like, I wish that could have lasted like a little bit longer. I feel like that was a rented feeling and I didn't own it. That's just like, oh, it's so sad. So yeah, I think I can finish this in a day and a half. I think I can. I just made it to part 2, which is called Craft. And when I tell you that in part 1, we are just thrown into a whole war, and it just seems like unending and tireless and honestly kind of pointless, because it's like, it's war. And with the perspectives we're getting, you feel for both sides of it. It is just, And Pierce Brown, he does not pull any punches with expending of characters, because you think that, at least I thought that a certain character was going to be fine, and then they weren't. And they were just like cleaved in two. So I was having a lot of jaw drop moments. Yeah. I usually don't like reading about warfare, but this was done very well. And now with part 2, we have another perspective entering the chat. So I'm really excited to see what happens. I am now on page 147. So I'm excited to keep going. I want to finish this as soon as possible, honestly. It's going great. I have come to Miss Barnes & Noble to not buy books. I'm not doing that. I'm going to sit in the Starbucks cafe. I'm going to read Dark Age, which is, it's so good, you guys. Now I feel silly because I did my hair like this because I was like, ooh, I'm gonna be cute. And then my mom made fun of me. So now I feel like
an almost 28-year-old baby because I have this hairstyle. So, yeah. If you wanted an update on Dark Age, I am past the 200 page mark, and now we're at, I don't know how much is a spoiler. Okay, so if you haven't read the other 4 books in the series, I'm sorry, I'm about to get a little spoilery, but we have, in part 2, we're talking about, in fact, spoilers right now, okay? Spoilers. In part 2, we are talking about, or we are with Virginia and Ephraim. So their POVs are so polar opposites and so, like, I'm intrigued. I'm in it. I'm in it. Especially because in Lysander's and Darrow's perspectives in part 1, that was just all war, baby. And this is just all, like, political intrigue and trying to win votes, but also trying to figure out what, not what happened to them, but also just, like, we had some time with Ephraim, and he just woke up from, like, his craziness that happened in book 5, and he's now with the Obsidians and Sephi, and because Pax and what's her name, Electra, they were kidnapped, so they're just being, like, trained with the Obsidian kids, and it's just crazy. Hi, people. They're being trained, and that whole, like, fight scene, oh, that was amazing. Pax, I wasn't, like, in love with Pax before, but he's Pax. We love Pax. So, yeah, I love this book so much. End of spoilers. So, yeah, I'm gonna go in and read and maybe get a drink. I don't know. It's 2 something, and I haven't eaten yet today, and that's a problem. So, yeah. The vibes were a little off in that Barnes & Noble. It's a sketchy one at times, and there was a strange man in the cafe area that I didn't want to deal with. So instead, I went to the store and got something for me to eat for breakfast slash lunch. So I'm gonna make myself some food, and then I'm gonna continue reading. Hola, it's the next morning. You haven't missed very much. What happened? Oh, except for I made my oatmeal. It was really boring, but it was good. And I have read, let's see, I brought my book with me. I'm going to class today. I don't know why. Tell me why. We always bring books with us even when we know we're not going to be able to read them. I don't know why I brought this with me. In fact, I'm supposed to be driving right now, but I'm on page 265. Yo, things are happening. We had a whole new thing just, like, thrown into the mix. We had another death, and I'm like, I didn't think that he would kill that person. Pierce, why are you killing everybody? I won't tell you who died, but, and, oh my gosh, we have just, like, a lot of perspective shifts and changes with a character, and from what he did in the last book, it's kind of carried over into this book, and we're talking about who do you choose? Do you choose your family, or do you choose everybody else? Like, and if I were in that situation, I don't know what I would do. So I have empathy for every character who's like, I'm fighting for the one or the many. I have empathy for all of them. So, and I also have empathy for the bad guys too, because I'm like, I can see from their perspective now, and I hate that. I hate that. So I am going to be driving. Yeah, I need to go now. So, yeah. All right, I survived ballet class. I am back, and I am making some lunch, and while I'm waiting for that to get ready, we're gonna get back into Dark Age and watch as everything is unfolding. I'm less than 300 pages in, and I'm already fearing for everyone's lives. So, yeah, that's fun. I was gonna go on like a hot plot walk like Ashlyn Kaylee does, but it started raining, so I had to put the nix on that situation. So maybe we'll go for a walk tomorrow, maybe, if it's sunny. The end of chapter 31, it is so brutal that it almost made me cry. That was intense, and sheesh. I'm attached to these characters, and when I almost cry when something happens to one of them, I'm like, that's how you know you're in it.
that was awful. A lot of people say that this book is kind of like grim dark, and I don't really know what that is. So far be it from me to explain it to you, but from what I can tell, this is very grim dark. I don't know what that means, but it just, the personification of grim dark age. It's a lot. That was a little bit traumatizing to read. Okay, we're back with another character POV that we haven't had in a little bit, so let's see what happens.
I forgot my camera somewhere, so we're doing phone footage for now. What has happened? It's been a fair few weeks. It's been about 2 weeks of me not like devoting all my time to Dark Age. But I am in the 500s for sure, page count wise. And I got really anxious when it came to the story. We had a lot of just a lot of developments happen. A character that I thought was never going to come back came back, and I was like, what? Pierce? You good? Okay. And I can't wait for the spoiler section of this video because we got a lot to talk about. So I am feeling very anxious when it comes to the characters. And you know, you ever have those books that are like, when you read them, if you get to a certain point and you're invested in the characters enough, you don't want to read it anymore because you're just scared for what's going to happen with the characters. I'm very scared. So it's like, it's not bringing me joy to read it actively. I'm interested and I'm like, I need to know what happens, but I don't want to know what happens. Do you feel me? You feel me. I know you do. So yeah, that's what's happening right now. I'm going to try and finish this book soon. For sure. For sure. Yeah.
Okay, so as per usual, I finished Dark Age like a couple days ago, and I did not update because I was like, I was still feeling things. I was still trying to unpack my feelings, and I think I'm gonna give this 5 stars, which is crazy considering I gave Iron Gold 3, and that was kind of like a low 3, to be honest. So the non-spoilery unpacking of it all is that this is a great book. This is a great, like, if Iron Gold was the bridging book between the first era and the second era, then this one is like, okay, we know all the new characters, we know what's happening, we have a general idea of what we are trying to accomplish, and we're just settled, and we're like, it's just grim. It's very grim in this book. And I think I now understand the term grim dark. Another non-spoilery thing, I think that there were characters in this novel that I did not like in Iron Gold that grew on me, and I was like, okay, I see your purpose. I see you now, and I commend you. And there were many casualties. There were many, like, what the hell? Where did that come from? Like, Pierce Brown, he's able to, like, because there's so much happening, I was able to forget completely about certain characters and go, that's never gonna happen. And then it happens, and you're like, there are certain authors that I tip my hat to, and Pierce Brown is one of them. He also is so good at writing funny dialogue that's just like, there's certain characters that are just funny to me, and I will laugh out loud when I read these books because he has the humor that I like. He's got the jokes, he's got the funnies, and I am interested in seeing where everything's gonna go, because at the end we have, like, I did watch a couple videos reviewing this book before I even read it, non-spoiler of course, and the people that I saw reviewing it were saying, like, that everything is kind of like dim and dour, but then there is a little bit of hope towards the end, and you do get that. There's like, we could do something. And also, if you read this book, please, I think you need to read, or I think you need to watch Pierce Brown recapping this book, but with toys. It's a fun time. It's a good video, and I loved it. So if I don't get to Lightbringer in an appropriate amount of time, I will watch that video again just to see Pierce Brown playing with toys. He has a big, like, centipede plushie. It's cute.
But yeah, that's the end of the non-spoilery stuff. Like, I need to talk about some things. Okay? Okay. Spoilers! Y'all, what the hell? Okay, first off, Pax. Can we talk about Pax? Pax is, I was shocked to remember and, like, read again. Pax is 11 years old. And I forget that golds are built different. Like, they really are. Please can look over here. I have a huge pimple over here. Don't look there. Don't. I'm only going to show you my good side. Pax is, he's great. And Electra. They were my standout faves from last book. I just love these. They are truly the embodiment of their parents. Like, all the good parts. Like, Victra and Severo, power couple. And we'll get to Victra. But yeah, I think that Pax was a very, like, he's not just, like a brutish guy. He's very cerebral. He has, like, the brains of his parents. And, I really enjoyed all of their adventures with Ephraim. I'm also glad that Ephraim died. Not even sorry about it. I hated Ephraim, and I did think that he got a little bit of a redemption arc, but I think it was good that Pierce Brown killed him off. Also, all of the Obsidian stuff with, like, the Volsung Fa, that was a little bit boring, but it served its purpose, obviously. I was not expecting for Ragnar's father to come back. I also wasn't expecting for, what was her name? Volga. I wasn't expecting for Volga to be Ragnar's sperm baby. Wasn't expecting that either. But, also Lyria. I heavily disliked her in Iron Gold. I was really upset when she was going to have another perspective in this book, but the way she did rise in my heart's rankings to a little bit higher because of how she was, like, acting as if she was the only person in this world that had ever had something terrible happen to them. And it's like, girl, you don't have a monopoly on suffering. So the fact that she overcame that and was able to help out Victra, when Victra and poor Ulysses, I almost cried, you guys. I knew the baby was going to die. Victra and Severo's first and only boy, and he gets not even a day in this world, and he's strung up by the Red Hand. Like, it was so awful. But, like, as you can see, lots of tabs were made because there were just so many moments. Like, all the moments with Victra and when she was giving birth. Like, I thought that was so well done by Pearson. I don't know why, but I feel like when a man writes, like, a birth scene, I'm like, good job. And it's, like, a good birth scene. It was everything was so visceral and carnal, and, like, it was just so well done. Great writing. What was the other thing? Yo! The clone of Adrius is back! And we left him for a good portion of this novel. That reminds me, I'm so all over the place. Virginia has a perspective in this novel. I don't know is this the first time we had a Virginia perspective? I feel like it must have been. But the fact she has a perspective, love. I love so many characters in this novel. I'll go back to Adrius in a second. I love Virginia. I love Darrow. I love Severo. I love Victra. I wish that Victra had a perspective. That would have been really great. I love Thraxa. I loved Daxo. Rest in peace. Is that it? I love Pax and Electra. These are my characters. I'm really sad about some of the Howlers, but back to Adrius. I'm curious as to what's going to happen with his clone, because it's not like, oh, his clone is just inherently evil. We can tell that because his clone didn't grow up with his dad, Nero, we're like, oh, it's like nature versus nurture kind of a thing. And I'm really curious as to how he's going to come into play, because we just left him. Like, he's just gone from the story right now. And so obviously he's going to show up again. So there was Adrius, and Severo's still in his clutches though, so that's a little bit of a problem. And yeah, like I was saying before, it's very much so, is it family over, like, your other duties. And Severo's such a family man, and that's why I love him so much. He's so many characters I love so much. And then there was another like plot twisty thing. Oh my gosh, the Lysander stuff. Also, didn't like Lysander, but you know, he's growing on me. I mean, he's been done dirty by his grandmother. They killed his mother. They took his memories. That's not exactly the most pressing point of the story for me, but also all of the Apollonius and like all the A names. I got confused by Atlas, Ajax. Ajax? Is that his name? Aja. Like Atalantia. So many A names, y'all. Oh, but yeah, I knew that Cassius was not dead. He could not have been dead. I'm almost out of memory. Okay, Cassius could not have been dead, and he wasn't, and I was right. I feel vindicated. But it also makes me feel like, is anybody in this book series really dead when they're dead? Like, Roke? Is he really dead? We don't know. But yeah, I'm almost out of memory. I love this book so much. It was great. There are so many, like, great quotes in here. Of course I can't find one when I want to. Ooh, like, someone says, poor little man. I think this was Aja and someone else. She mocks, life is meant to be felt, else why live? Valleys make the mountains. They do. Valleys do make the mountains. Like, what good is being smarter than everyone if no one listens? Is this how my father felt? My brother? Is evil born of pure frustration? Is it? It's so good! Everybody read it. Please read the whole series. I need to start Lightbringer. That book is in storage. I need to read Lightbringer, and then I need to read, apparently there's another book coming out, so there's more for me to read. And one of my Bookstagram friends says that Lightbringer is like chef's kissy, so I cannot wait. Yeah, that's the end of this video. I probably had so much more to say, but I'm out of storage, so see you in the next video. Goodbye.